Okay. Alright. Hey guys, Sapple here. So this is the first time I've done one of these by myself, so this could be interesting, but we'll see how it goes. So for anyone that's not seen one of these before, I've got a dock set up with a bunch of teams. This time for the CRBL League for Season 5, I'm gonna just take a look at them individually, give some hot takes, that kind of thing, maybe make a couple suggestions of what I think they could do to improve the team, round it out a bit better. Yeah, as simple as that really. Okay. First off, events team. Okay. It was a little bit rock weak, which, I mean, yeah, combined with lack of real clear, the Decidueye is going to be pretty stressed already just to kind of keep the board clear. I mean, the hazard game on the other end is pretty solid. I can see him more laying hazards aggressively and trying to play the game that way and force the opponent to clear for him. But there's going to be a lot of teams that are just going to be fine trading rocks and then forcing him. Really, Arcanine's not going to be able to do its job as well. Glalie going to have the amount of times it can come in cut short. Same with Bravery. So, yeah, I would like to see more hazard removal, but other than that, good speeds, good high end. The mid tier's pretty kind of varied. And then kind of Bronzong just to, I guess, put off any trick room shenanigans, but Typj, other than the, so like I say, a little bit edge quick weak. Other than that, there's not too many glaring holes. Ghost is a bit of an issue, but Ghost is an issue for every team, to be honest, so it's not too big of an issue. Although as far as Ghost switch-ins, they're not really existent. Yeah, I can see that this team's biggest issues are going to come up with any offensive Ghost, and teams that can reliably get hazards down and then just pressure the Decidueye. Other than that, so there's a good little Volturn core. Zera, Decidueye, Rabombi, Braviary, just kinda can maybe generate some momentum that way. And abuse that momentum with, you've got Garchomp and magikyle. But magikyle really needs the rocks gone for that. Yeah. Fairly solid team. A couple exploitable holes, but it's okay. Okay, so on to Flop and Philo's team next. Okay. So there's a lot of hazard removal, but I mean, I'm not sure if I count Masquerain as hazard removal. Krakenel's good for anything that's not rocks. Spikes and webs, it's pretty reliable at getting clear, but struggles with rocks for just due to his ice typing and it's fairly physically frail. But Rotom Wash is one of the most reliable clears in the game, so Superior is pretty decent as well. Usually has a move slot free, so don't see that being an issue. Could do with more setters. I think a lot of the time you're just bringing either Registeel or Diancie just to set rocks and not do much else. Which isn't too much of an issue, but sometimes you are going to miss that extra slot. There's not too many holes as far as switch-ins and resists are concerned. Pretty beefy back end in general with Rotom Wash, Umbreon. The wish support for Registeel and Diancie is pretty nice. Lets them actually soak things. Zygarde Superior is generally pretty threatening if you can get rid of grass types, which Salazzle is one of the best ones in the game at doing that, so it's a nice little offensive core they've built there. Megalopen is just generally threatening against everything. Some nice kind of sweep stop with Alakazam just in case anything does set up on their more passive mons with like Diancie and Registeel. So they do kind of have a way to hedge that as well. As well as obviously Megalopen, fake out, things like that. Yeah, this is fairly solid. I quite like this. Same as Vent with the speed, good kind of variation in the speeds and a lot of high end, good amount of mid-tiered. Could maybe have some issue with fighting types. Since the resists for the fighting types aren't really the bulkiest. I mean, there's Eviolite Mischievous, can always kind of switch in and burn things. It has to watch out for knockoff, which pretty much every fighting type in the game gets. I'm not sure if there's any that don't. Yeah, other than that I quite like this team. It's pretty solid. So we'll do Sheep's team next. Okay. So there's a little bit of a regen core of Tangrowth, Tornty and I don't know. Combined with kind of the unaware walls with Piku and Clef. Might be a little bit difficult for some teams to break this. Just from the raw bulk. 3 very reliable setters with Clef, Cobalion and Empoleon. Hazard removal could still be a little bit better for a team with Charizard X and Tornty as your main kind of offensive threats. You're really putting a lot of stress on Empoleon. Especially when Empoleon and Blastoise are your 2 real clears, both share the water typing, so both kind of vulnerable to electric. Double wish support with the regen core. I can see this kind of just walling out a lot of less offensive teams, but if a team's able to kind of break through that or wear it down, then it might struggle. So flying and fairy resists, again that's just putting stress on him. Empoleon feels like it's doing a lot of things on this team. Yeah, it's just a lot of stress on Empoleon to cover a lot of roles all at once. Could be an issue. Yeah, and for an electric weakness this big, the ground type being Zygarde 10% is a little problematic. Just because it's generally quite frail, so any kind of coverage, even a HP Ice, is usually going to break it. I mean, Tangrowth serves pretty decently at that. Again, an HP Ice is going to annoy it. I think that's really the biggest issues with this team, is kind of that the electric weakness combined with Empoleon already resisting kind of some key threats, and then also holding together the hazard game. A team that kind of focuses on breaking apart that Empoleon is generally going to, I think, do pretty well at breaking through this team. But yeah, I mean, Charizard X is always extremely threatening, and then Zygarde 10% is, yeah, just Banded Tauros is very, very strong. And then with Charizard X threatening the grass types, they're going to be switching into that. I can see that winning a lot of games, combined with just that fat regen core on the back. But it's going to come down to controlling those hazards. JL and Rev's team. Well, Mew and Mega Scizor is just... it's a very fail-proof Volturn core. Both of them can just kind of soak into pretty much any move, like any mon in the game. They can tailor to, outside of fire types threatening Mega Scizor obviously, but can very easily soak neutral hits and just generate momentum, which is very nice for Mamoswine and Noivern. Yeah, Incineroar plays into that as well. Meloetta a little bit too. Yeah, this is a very momentum heavy team, which I like. Hazard game, yeah, it's a very strong hazard game. Again, the Mew Mega Scizor, they can just hold that down. One of them will always have a free slot for defog, and then they'll always be able to defog on something. And then a good varied pack of setters. Mamoswine Mew can always fairly reliably get rocks down. Aerodactyl can suicide rocks if you need to. Thanks, Jack. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of a rocks weakness and an electric weakness, but I mean the rock weakness, they're always bringing Mega Scizor, so that's not too much of an issue. Both for the clear and for just rock hitters they can't really stay into 2-hit KO Mega Scizor, they're always threatened by the bullet punch, so electric is potentially more of an issue here. Mamoswine generally doesn't want to be soaking hits too much. It might just be relying on Mew to hedge there. Other than that, there's not really It's fairly solid. Good high end, good mid tier speeds. There's not really any one type that's a clear hole. Electric's a potential issue there, but other than that, it's just going to generates a lot of momentum. It's got good abusers for that momentum. Good hazard game. Yeah, I think this is just looking to kind of grind teams down, get hazards down, just generate momentum on them, get things weak enough for Mamoswine or like Noivern and Aerodactyl to break through. Could even win some games with a Belly Drum Azumarill or Trick Room Stack Attacker, but yeah, it's a solid team. Okay, Typh and Jaden's team next. There's a lot of... it's a very fat team. I'm not sure what Pignite's meant to do, but it's one of those, you've got 0 points left over, you can't really find anything that particularly fits the team, so just pick a mon you like. I can respect that. A little bit of a grind weakness here, especially when you're focusing as much on the Toxapex. It's where the resists. So it's Latias and Mandibuzz are your big ground switch-ins. Which, I mean, other than the ice, they don't share any key weaknesses off the top of my head, so it's not a glaring issue. They're both fairly fat, have reliable recovery. Mega Audino's a weird pick. I don't like it too much as a mon, but I can see it here. Like before it megas, there's a mini regen core with Toxapex. Kind of wish back up some things if they get too chunked, especially the H-Slash that really appreciates wish. Yeah, there's a lot of fat on this team, but I'm not entirely sure how it wins a game. Like, Cortana's the only kind of significant win con. Latias as well, partially, but not. Latias doesn't have as much stopping power as I would like for like a win con for a team when it's this fat. So it might have, like in any matchup where Cortana's not really going to be able to do much work, this team might struggle to actually close the game out. I mean, there's not many hazard game solids, good amount of setters, I mean like reliable setters, reliable clear. Yeah, it's just very fat. It's just gonna hope to grind teams out. If it can't grind the team out, then I don't see how it wins games. But I don't hate it too much. It does have a very clear goal and it sticks to it, so okay. So Sonicin and Inarias, well, right away there's Kokolucha with Mega Medicham. Okay. That's kind of scary. So Mega Medicham with the... would prefer to see a better dark type than Drapion for the Mega Medicham. especially when you've got the Holocha as well. It'd be nice to... I mean, Drapion has the Pursuit to kind of clear your Psychic and Ghosts away, but it's always nice to have a better one. But I mean, Snorlax works very well as a Pursuit Trapper as well for Ghosts, so I can see that. I can see just like a banned Snorlax with Pursuit coming to a lot of this team's games. Pretty solid type chart. Coco on high end with Unburdened Holocha. It's just always going to be able to outpace teams. Forretress holding down the hazard game like Forretress does. There's a lot of defoggers, but not many things that want to defog. I mean, that's not necessarily too much of an issue. It's quite a fast-paced team. Just kind of a little bit of a Voltern Coco, maybe Scarflagon with Forretress Vault switching, and Rotomo as well with Uxie too. Just kind of Voltern a bit, generate some momentum. Medicham to abuse that. Holocha to clean games, Volcanion to abuse momentum, and just break things in general. Okay. There's Sun, but I'm not entirely sure what it's... I mean, Volcanion kind of appreciates Sun, can Solar Beam and obviously boosts the Fire Blast and things, but I mean, when you're running Volcanion, generally you want to press the Steam Eruption button because it's the most broken move in the game other than 1000 Arrows. I mean, it's nice to have that as an option, I guess, so... yeah, a good amount of bulk on the back end with Uxie Snorlax. Dusknoir is always just fat, but it doesn't really do much else other than just burn stuff. Good breakers, good clean. Yeah, this is a pretty solid, well-rounded team. Honestly, this is probably my favourite team so far. I mean, having Coco Lucha does a lot towards that. Same with Mega Medicham, but yeah, it's very hard to wall this team. You can see it doing a lot of work. Yeah. Parsleychan's team. Okay, so we've got the Sand team here. And with the Sand team comes the standard fighting and ground weaknesses. There's Skarmory to help deal that. I quite like Skarmory on the Sand team actually. I'm not sure if I've seen that before, but it makes a lot of sense. Feeney's a little bit strange. Okay, yeah, the hazard game's all clearly pretty solid. Just Executor on Skarmory is always going to hold it down, just between themselves. I think I would have liked to see a different war pick than Feeney. I would rather a war type with recovery, I think. I'm not entirely sure what Mega Minute does here, but it's one of the Like it's a tiered draft and it gives 80 points, so it's always nice just to get a kind of a weaker mega just to fill out some more powerful spots on your team, which kind of opens up getting the DT and the Shaman, so that's not too bad. Yeah, I'm not really too sure what else to say. I mean, Mega Manette does punish the fighting types, I guess, but with Mega Manette you really want something to punish dark types more. And when your fighting type's Scrafty and your fairy's Feeny, it's not. They're not the best at punishing that. But, I mean, Sand Excadrill is always going to be able to take games just by itself. DT is very, very powerful as well, especially combined with the Sand. Yeah, just Kyurem and DT for like powerful electric spam and powerful ice spam can kind of punish any flying types that try and punish the Sand Drill. That's kind of nice just having those two as breaker options, as well as just Double Dance DT is always going to be able to threaten teams. Yeah, Feeny is I think my only real gripe with this team. It just feels a bit out of place compared to a water with better recovery, especially when you've already got Skarmory and Excadrill for hazard clear. It's not really wanting to run Defog. It's just getting itself chipped with sand as well, which is not ideal. But, yeah, other than that, it's fairly solid. Shaman to kind of hedge that ground weakness, it's always nice. And obviously the Skarmory as well. But yeah, okay. I will skip my own team, just for now anyway, I guess. Okay, it's a very hefty rock weakness. With Shedinja as well. It's a bit of a water weakness as well. I'm not sure what. So I'm not even sure which Oricorio type is the best to bring on a team like this. Because there's already a Zapdos, so the electric Oricorio is never really going to come, because when is it going to do anything that Zapdos can't do? And the Ghost and the Fire feel kind of the same when you have Blacephalon. So I guess I can't even remember what one the Psychic Flying one is. Because Sensu's the go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this. I don't know. The Psychic Flying one feels like the only Oricorio that does something that other things on the team don't do. But even then, I'm not entirely sure why it's here. When there's already however many a lot of flying types. Which kind of, yeah, there's a bit of an electric weakness here as well. For a team with this many rock weaknesses, you would really want more defog than that. I mean, Togekiss and Zapdos are fairly reliable clear, but still not ideal. team has pretty glaring issues, but it also has Cure and Black Mega DNC with Weevil, Blacephalon. I don't know, there's just 4 mons that are very scary, and then a lot of kind of fluff. Okay, 5 mons with Zapdos. Zapdos is really good. Yeah, I think this team just has too much kind of fluff holding it back that kind of compounds a lot of the weaknesses it already has. Not too fond of this team. I'll move on. So, Cadence's team. I mean, there's a bit of a nice weakness, but then there's also a Mega Mawile and a Scizor, and a Volcarona. So it's not like you really want to be spamming ice moves against that. Good amount of defog, especially to support that Volcarona. Good varied amount of Stealth Rockers as well, that's nice. A little bit rock weak, but again there's the Mega Mawile and the Scizor. So Mega Mawile is costs 40 more points than the free Megas, but very, very powerful mon, obviously. You wouldn't really want to be spamming rock types. Give it even just a little bit of room to set up, and it can cause a lot of issues for teams. So I don't think that's as much of an issue as it might seem at first, when you consider that one resist is the Mega Mawile. Some good kind of momentum with the Lando T-Celebi combined with Scizor. Volcarona can U-turn as well if it's a choice set. That can kind of help the Mega Mawile get in safely, especially with the Lando T into the base Mawile for double intimidate. Can set up on a lot of things for free. Yeah, and then with Lando T and Scizor, Volcarona, there's a lot of kind of clear win cons here. Meteor as well to a certain extent. That does a lot of work for against certain teams. It's not too exploitable on the back end. Celebi and Slowbro together kind of do quite well to wall a lot of things. And then with Kangaskhan to kind of punish any ghost types. Yeah, this seems pretty solid, I quite like it. There's a lot of ways to enable the Mega Mawile, which is good. When you're kind of setting back your draft with that many points to get the more powerful Megas, you do want a team that supports it well, and I think this team does that. Yeah, quite like it. So, Badger and Furfrou's team. I mean, there's really not many. This type chart's already fairly robust, and then you consider there's also the Silvally, so any matchups that they're particularly uncomfortable with, you can always cover. It's kind of nice that Silverlight has that freedom. It doesn't look like it's going to feel like it has to be a certain type every game. Z Silverlight to... I'm not sure if that's status or not, I imagine it would be. So the Z parting shot's very nice to kind of get Ferrothorn back up to full, Electros as well, Mudsdale too. Yeah, it's a few like big targets that really appreciate that full heal. Very, very solid hazard game. Very solid clear. Yeah, this is a very good team. Very good Volturn with the parting shot Silverlay with comfy Electros as well. Fernet Manaphy. Then Mega Aerodactyl to abuse that on his high end. Solid win cons with Manaphy and Fernet, Latios as well. Comfy, yeah. This is a pretty scary team. This is fairly clearly the strongest I've seen so far anyway. It's very hard to pick out any clear flaws here. Maybe maybe struggle with freeze dry. But then freeze dry users are generally pretty not the strongest, so I think things like Manaphy, Ferrothorn, Silverlay can kind of soak that naturally well enough that it's not too much of an issue. Yeah, it's a very solid team. Okay, where was I? DNLuxray? Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of kind of type neutrality. I guess because there's 3 normal types in Ditto. Only 1 fire resist in Bulu is potentially an issue. And that fire resists Alolan Golem. Okay, I think this team very clearly just wants to go all out and hit things with Bulu, Beedrill, Circuitry, Ubayu, and just not bother with any kind of back end at all. Because it really kind of falls apart on that end, in my opinion. Especially with Mimikyu. You really want to just break through some stuff, let it set up, try and win the game off that. Very strange team. And the defog is Mega Beedrill, which is never pressing defog. Pretty much ever. And Klefki, whose defog is blocked by dark types. Which, I mean, is it triple fairy? Yeah, triple fairy. You're not too worried about dark types, you've got no weaknesses, but it's maybe not as much of an issue anyway. But okay, yeah, it's very ground weak, very fire weak. And he doesn't really have switch-ins for like 5 or 6 different types. He's going to be relying on Ditto to check things a lot, which isn't not ideal at all. Yeah, I think this team really needs to just hit things hard and fast and just hope it can end the game before the other team can get any kind of footing. I think as soon as momentum's gone for this team, the game's over. There's just not really any way to regain it. Especially because the only real damage soak is Alolamuk and Chansey, which just sink all your momentum away. There's no way to get things back in the game without sacking something. Which isn't great for things like Mimikyu and Mega Beedrill, or Hoop Bound. Yeah. I can see this. When this team wins games, it'll be down to just Sash Smeargle lead, setting webs, and then just trying to end the game off of that. Other than that, I'm not really sure how it wins a game. Okay, wait, no, I missed one. Floatzel and Kalt. That's a lot of hazard setters. Comparatively not as much defog, but it's two fairly reliable defog, defog and spin in Serena's case. The spin's nice when you have this many setters, especially that can go both spikes and toxic spikes. So it can kind of hazard stack for a win and just protect its own sides while clearing any on the other side.
If you don't mind, I'd like to play you a little something.
It's not really too weak to any type in particular. Flying spam's maybe a little bit problematic for it. Relying on Roam Heat to soak that a lot. Necrozma can just soak a lot of things naturally. Could maybe do with a... yeah, Ghost is probably the biggest issue. When Greninja's your only Ghost resist, it's potentially an issue when you're relying on Necrozma. Some good amount of speed, especially on the high end. Garchomp Meg is always just, at the very least, itemless Garchomp, so that's nice. Rotom Heat and Serena can always just kind of switch into things and generate momentum. Very nice for getting things like Greninja and Terrakion in. Scolopede's just always threatening. Especially when it's on a team like this, when it can afford to just spike stack some games. And you always have to prep for the offensive sets anyway, even if it's just going to spike stack. Because if you don't, you just lose the game. It's a nice amount of that's a nice amount of like prep pressure that can still do a lot of work. Double Wish, but one of them's Glaceon. I'm not sure if that's there for any particular reason or if that's just a tier 5 that they like, but I can't see it coming to too many games. Prankster option with Meowstic is always useful. Yeah, it's just a very well-rounded team. It's a fairly standard Kalt team. bulk on back end with some wish support, and then just, yeah. Okay. Nope, I missed the team again. I missed 2 teams. Okay. It's fairly ghost week, especially when the switch-ins Kamala and Zoroark. Not really the greatest at taking a hit. Zoroark in particular, if it's taking a hit, it's not doing its job. I mean, good momentum game going here. Jirachi Gliscor, Mega Manectric, Kamala kind of. Just gonna Volturn Core, generate momentum. Momentum's always good for Zoroark. Just come in, pretend to be something that's just gonna U-turn, and then catch something off guard and kill it. A little bit ground weak, but then this Gliscor Whimsicott, it's not a major issue. They're pretty reliable ground stops. Same with the clear, like hazard game, Gliscor is always going to have it down, Jirachi's always going to get rocks up reliably, same with Komoa. Triple Wish, but there's not really anything that appreciates it that much. Komoa, I guess, yeah. Komoa and Gothitelle appreciate the Wish support a lot, it's kind of nice actually. Yeah, it's a pretty solid team. Could do with more breaking power. Gothitelle can kind of trap things and try and take out key threats, so that it serves that purpose to an extent. But other than that, I think it's relying on Komoa to break. It's okay. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, quite like this team. Yeah, Gliscor and Jirachi is always going to do work on any team. Yeah. Okay. So Honchcrow is the only ground resist is kind of an issue, especially when you have Heatran. Honchcrow is the only defog as well, it's also kind of not great. Again, this could just be a case of try and set enough hazards yourself to force the opponent to do the defogging for you. Okay, it's got the Mega Sableye as well to try and bounce hazards. If this is played well, the hazard game is absolutely fine, but it needs to kind of be played very well for it to work. There's not really much high-end speed either, which, yeah, that's kind of an issue. There's not really anything that really abuses the webs when you've not got much high end. Nidoking appreciates webs, of course, but any Scarfer is just not going to care about the webs and just kill Nidoking. And obviously if webs aren't able to stay up, then this team kind of struggles to kind of get the front foot. Yeah, there's not really any glaring holes. Covers all his bases pretty well. Here, anyway. It really just does come down to the speed and the hazard game. Just kind of like the speed's gonna rely on a lot more prediction than games should. And it's the same case with the hazards. So this team could, if it's played absolutely perfectly, then this is a very powerful team. Just when you've got things like Nidoking, Honchkrow, Hariyama to abuse the webs, Heatran as well. But it does kind of rely on is making games a lot harder for itself than it should, in my opinion, and that could be an issue. It's a Trick Room option with Reuniclus, which is kind of nice. Especially the Mega Sableye as well. Yeah. Yeah, this could maybe catch a team off guard with Trick Room. The Trick Room or webs are really what would hold this team together. Does struggle a bit outside that, I think. Did I do? Yeah, I did this team. On to Crono's team. Okay. That's a good amount of clear, which is nice for Yanmega Araquanid. Has the webs option with Araquanid with double spin, so that's kind of nice, especially with the magikyle. Good varied amount of setters. Double Wish, but it's magikyle and Salamence, so not really Wish, but you know Crono's going to run double Wish with that at some point, because that's just what he does. He has a lot of shared weaknesses, but he does kind of... he has enough things to cover them well. It's kind of weird. So what are his flying resists? Because that's kind of the biggest. I mean, Steelix no Lego. Okay, yeah, that's... it would be nice with some real Wish support and Steelix no Lego to kind of help with that a little bit, but... bit of a ghost weakness, but he has Crocodile, so that he can punish that well, that's fine. Magikyle's powerful enough to just win games by itself. This is a fairly solid team actually. It's a bit Ice Weak. It's kind of relying on Tentacruel really to deal with that. Tentacruel and Araquanid. So any physical ice threat is probably going to give this team quite a bit of issues. Yeah, any like Mamoswine or Weavile is probably going to have a lot of fun dealing with this team, I think. But outside of that, there's not really too many massive holes. Very, very solid hazard game. This is a pretty solid team for a Chrono team actually. I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but So where's the Trick Room option? Chrono always has a Trick Room option. Does Musharna get Trick Room? I don't even know. I won't even entertain a Trick Room option, because if there is one, Chrono will use it and then he'll do it badly, so I'll leave it at that. Yeah, it's a very powerful team. Magikyle with webs is always just going to do work. The double spin, it can kinda... Does he have a ghost? He has Delmise to spin block as well, so that's... I'm actually very impressed with this team. It's very good. Yeah, that was the last team, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna cut it off that. Thanks for listening, guys. Yeah. Thanks.